it's kind of a unique place to work because you work side by side with the same person all the time. There's not like an office with a bunch of people running around. You get two people that work together. As far as like the figurines, well, that's Eddie. He gets these little toys from Burger King, I think, or someplace, and he just likes putting them around because I don't know, he just likes to add a little color to the place, I guess. Probably makes him happy. I think they're kind of neat. And then some of the guys could care less about the little toys. You know what I mean? So, and like I think you noticed that the boss has a dog, Jack. There, well, he came on board about the same time I did, so he was kind of a small dog. So I think that's neat that they allow them to bring dogs in here. A lot of guys will bring in jokes. They tell me some stories there that they haven't done to me, and it's just a matter of time, I'm sure. But like, you got to open up the boilers to inspect them in the summer. Well, when you're in there, you have a blower to provide air to kind of keep fresh air coming in there. And they told me a story where a previous maintenance guy was up inside there, you know, in this real small and cramped and confined space. And on the bottom where that blower was pushing fresh air up through, they took I can't remember what it was, but it was something like a jar of old tuna fish or something like that, and it stunk to heck. And they put that down there so that smell went up through, and that guy, you know, was like, oh, what's going on, you know, and he couldn't do nothing about it. He just kind of was stuck in there. Where you are such a small crew, you'll find that you learn a lot more about each other. Like somebody's daughter has a baby, you'll see the pictures. What we like to do on Thursdays, it's kind of a tradition here, is we have that grill out front there. Like in the summer, we'll barbecue. Like we'll all pitch in. Like let's have hamburgers and hot dogs. But anyways, whenever you can see an opportunity to have some fun with somebody, then as long as you know they're not going to get upset, we try to do that. Pretty cool here. I like having a good time with my boss, Danny, there. He was always an operator, and he never was really into maintenance when he was at the mill. So now he's learning more maintenance, so I can have fun with him that way, you know what I mean? It's just, you know, he's watching him do something, and, you know, and knowing that there's a better way to do it, but you'll watch him fight with it for a little while. And he's like, stop hollering at me. And I was like, well, I got to holler at you because it's so loud in here. Really, we just have fun with each other. And that's a real fortunate thing, is to have a boss that you can, you know, respect and get along with and stuff. And it can be kind of frustrating sometimes because being a new guy, because these guys have been here for so long that, you know, they keep saying, well, that's not how we used to do it. But I don't know how they used to do it because I wasn't here. You know, I mean, all I know is how I do things. So it's kind of neat here. I like the fact that we're part of the university, and like we interface with students. We had the art class come in, and they called up in the morning, and the professor or instructor said, you know, I know this is the last moment, but I'd like to bring my class down today. And I relayed the message to Chuck, and Chuck said, yeah, that's fine, but let them know it's busy here. Well, we had contractors and a lot was going on yesterday, but they didn't come in till 3. By that time, everybody was gone. But at the time, everybody was like, oh, geez, you know, worried about, you know, there being a conflict there, but there ended up being no big deal. I think they'll say on the surface, oh, it kind of can hamper what they're doing, but I think also they like the variety, the fact that something different's going on, you know, and kind of keeps you kind of up on your job, you know what I mean? I guess it makes me reflect more about this, like we're doing right now. You want to be careful not to come up with a response that is, you know, after they look into it, they can tell that, you know, you really didn't know what you're talking about. I like doing it. I have a sense of pride in what we do here. Yeah, I think that I sense nothing but positive feedback about interacting with students. I think some of the trade shops think that, you know, we're a bunch of backward hicks out down here, you know what I mean? I don't know what they think of us, to tell you the truth. You hear stories there. You know, the steam plant guys, you know, kind of like trolls in a cave or something. A lot of pluses here. I like it. In the daily routines that I do, like you saw me do the water test there the other day. That's kind of neat because you actually have a pulse on the place. You actually can see the things that you're doing and the changes that it makes. You can tell that you have an effect on the way these boilers are operating, and then that you're doing a good job and that they're gonna probably stay running. I think you saw the Alphon arena, and we're dealing with that too. Once a day we go down there and check on the operation of the equipment there, and that's kind of nice little break of the monotony from here. It's a good job. I don't know, I feel like when I decided to make a change in my career that this worked out good. Like somebody gave me a break. If you look around the place, it does look like a museum in a sense. I mean, they keep the place up, clean and all that, but a lot of the equipment's very, very old. And it's not neglected by no means, but it's just something that it works. So I think, you know, they probably say, well, I mess with it. I don't know. But at some point, things start failing or like that stack out back. But that, you know, it's just a nature of over time that the mortar crumbles and the bricks crumble and this and that. So they finally like got to deal with it. Bricks falling out of the sky is not good. Why they waited till now? I mean, that's the only thing I could think is that it finally got to the front burner and they decided to deal with it. The university has a consulting firm. I can't remember their name, but like they're an energy consultant, and they can advise on when gas is more efficient to operate or oil. They keep track of the markets and stuff. Out of the 5 boilers, only one can burn both fuels. And they were like, well, what's the next best? We need another one that can burn both fuels. Because only the one that can is not enough in the winter. You need another boiler running also to provide enough heat for the campus. So they're like, well, maybe if we retrofit one, we can have 2 boilers. But then they found out these boilers are so old and it just wasn't cost effective to do that. So I think they're looking at getting rid of a couple old boilers, the smaller ones, and getting newer, efficient dual fuel boilers. Yeah, ideally, if you're running at top efficiency, then you're not wasting any money on fuel, and that's what they're trying to do. And pass it on down to the Alphon too. That's an old facility too, and that's run on some old technology, and that people probably don't think about it, but that's quite an energy consumer making ice. You got to keep the building cold. You gotta just like you got to heat up water to make heat. You got to cool down water to make ice. So I mean, it's either one's consuming energy. So, and there'll be issues down there that they're going to have to deal with too. The stuff that's down there is like 1940s and 50s technology, and it's failing, and you can't buy the parts anymore. These are reliable. There's not a whole lot of moving parts, so to speak. That you can pretty much count on them. If we lost power, there's ways to run them. You're not dependent on a lot of computer safeties and stuff like that. It's a trade-off. So you get less efficiency but more reliability, or you want better efficiency but probably not as good reliability. As a matter of opinion, that's all it is with me. I think it's kind of neat to keep modernizing. I think that you kind of have to. Either way, I'm along for the ride.